It hasn't been long since Atlas, the man out of time, made his way into our timeline and joined the roster, and he's already taken the realm by storm. Atlas is an incredibly powerful off-tank who's being picked and banned at even the highest levels of play. He is so powerful that even the pros value him enough to first pick or ban him. Atlas is honestly so good that I can say without a shadow of a doubt that he's a suitable rival to Makoa, just like Khan was back before the removal of Firing Line and his ultimate rework. He offers so much to a team that it could be detrimental to you and your team if you were to let the other team get him. Now, why is Atlas so powerful? Well, like I said, he offers a lot, but in order to bring out his potential, you have to have the required amount of skill. Atlas most definitely has the biggest learning curve out of all the tanks, and possibly the highest skill cap as well. When it comes to mechanics, Atlas does require a fair amount of skill there. His primary fire really doesn't, but when you charge it, it requires more and more skill, since the spread gets tighter and tighter until it's a single bullet. You have to track the enemy as you charge it, or flick to them as the charge ends. And you can't hold the bullet once it's charged, like Amani or Shaolin either. It fires by itself when it fully charges, so there's no cushion to it. It is definitely a skill shot. His setback is also a bit of a skill shot, without deja vu at least. Now that's really it when it comes to mechanical skill, but like I've said and emphasized many times, there is way more to being good at something than mechanical skill. Game sense is huge. In many cases, it's far more important than mechanical skill even. Atlas has ability lockouts while using certain parts of his kit. One example is if you're firing setback. You cannot use second chance while firing it. So you need to be positive you're doing the right thing at the right time, because if you mess up, you can be punished. If you go to set somebody back while BK is flying towards you with his ult, or Anara is throwing her ult at you, you won't be able to use second chance to dodge those things, and you'll likely die due to that mistake. His ultimate is also really game sense reliant. Many people think his ult is bad or it's underwhelming, and in reality, it's not. It is potentially very powerful, but you really have to know how to use it to get that power out of it. Let's say your flank is diving on an unsuspecting DPS or a support, but one of the enemy tanks notices that flank is coming and starts to go help. If you ult that tank, they can't do anything but watch their DPS and support die to your flanker. Another example, let's say you have a Makoa with you. Now honestly, I have no idea how a draft could go so wrong to let Makoa and Atlas be on the same team, but that's not the point. Let's say you have a Makoa with you and there's an enemy Drogos. Your Makoa is getting low and he needs to ult. If you use your ult on Drogos, your Makoa is free to ult and wreak havoc as Drogos watches. By the time Drogos gets out of your ult, your Koa probably already killed somebody. On top of that, it's super easy for your teammates to get into position to kill a target as they come out of your ult. BK is probably the funniest about it, because he could stack bombs underneath them and instantly kill them as they get free. Atlas's ult can also be used against flying targets who are flying above a kill zone. You hit them with it and they fall to their death. The easiest way to probably get value out of Atlas's ult that doesn't require too much game sense is to use it while zoning. If you banish enemies when they're attempting to get back onto the point, that's pretty huge, because then their team likely won't be able to get a touch. And even if one of their teammates gets past you and touches, they'll probably end up dying with 3 of their teammates out of commission. Now, there's a variety of ways to get big value out of Atlas's ult. It just depends on how well you can read a situation and react to it in time. His barrier is another thing that can also be more powerful with game sense. It's already powerful without it, of course, because it's not affected by Wrecker, but since it can block any projectile and any amount of damage, it can be used to nullify some very impactful ultimates and abilities. Anara is about to stun your whole team. Well, you saved your barrier expecting her to ult, so you put it up, ult's gone. Maybe you know Ruckus has his ult. You save your barrier, he dashes over and ults, you put it in his face, and all that damage is negated. As for his second chance, it's not really too skill reliant in comparison to everything else. You mainly only have to keep in mind how much time has passed since you last had full health. so you get the most out of the Cauterize free heal. At base, you can travel back 4 seconds, so if you use it at 5 seconds or more when you're already hurt, you won't get your full health back. It takes a bit of game sense and timing, but I do definitely think it's the easiest aspect of his kit to get max value out of. There are of course some cool things you can do with it with good timing. Like I mentioned, you can use it to get out of harm's way of very impactful enemy abilities or attacks. Drogo Salt, BK Ult, putting yourself back on the map when you get booped or thrown off, etc. Now on to his setback. Now this ability probably requires the most game sense out of anything in his kit, because while this ability is very effective with good game sense, it's also very detrimental without good game sense. I know you all have probably had it happen to you by now. A target is at low health, you're gonna kill them, and then Atlas sets them back to where they were before, saving them from dying and fixing their positioning mistake. I also want to point out that his ultimate is like that too. You could easily end up saving somebody with his ult if you use it wrong. Let's say a Koga has no energy, and he gets Atlas ulted. Well, during that ult, his energy comes back up, and he escapes as it ends. So without a doubt, doing stuff like that is best left avoided. When it comes to using his setback correctly, there are several things you can do to really get big value out of the ability. Let's say an enemy just got off their horse, or are running up on their horse. If you hit them with the setback, they're gonna go back very far and be dismounted. So they have to travel that whole distance again, but this time on foot. Let's say a tank got a big heal. If you hit them with setback, all of that healing goes away. With Deja Vu, you can do this to multiple enemies. Maybe Grover ulted and healed everyone up. Then you hit the ground with setback and put them all back to low health. I want to use Ashe as a specific example here because Atlas is Ashe's worst nightmare. Let's say Ashe dashes up on your teammate, you can set her back so far. Atlas is very anti-dive. Let's say Ashe ults, you can set her back out of her ult, or you could ult her during your ult. Both end up taking away its value. There are many characters and abilities you can do stuff like that to. Again, it's all about recognizing those situations and reacting to them in time. This is all why Atlas's power mainly comes out in higher levels. Higher level players already have the mechanical skill and the game sense to make Atlas work very well. I do feel like he was honestly designed for higher levels. Evil Mojo was very excited to see how the pros would play him. Of course, regardless of the level of play, learning him takes a good amount of practice. But once you've put in the time and gotten really good at him, you're gonna be rewarded and be rewarded well. Like I said, a good Atlas is a huge advantage for your team, a lot like a good Makoa is. If you're a tank player who hasn't really put a lot of time into Atlas yet, I encourage you to start grinding him, because once you're good at him, you're gonna be seeing a lot more wins coming your way. That's something I personally have been lacking with him. I have the mechanics, I have the game sense, but I haven't put in the time to practice with all that, and to get it down and master it. And that's something I'm looking to rectify. If you're looking to rank up, if you're looking to go ham with the next season split that's coming with the Steelforged update, again, get grinding. Learn Atlas and get him on your team. Now with how much I'm hyping up Atlas, is he OP? A character as good as Makoa has to be OP, right? Well again, I do think he's very strong, like Makoa, but unlike Makoa, he does again have a pretty big learning curve. With Makoa, you mainly only need to be able to land hooks, among other basic tank stuff, but the hook is where most of his value comes from. With Atlas, there's way more than that. There is much more to learn and get down. So I don't want to say he's OP yet because of that reason. He could be overtuned for sure, and that could very well warrant some kind of nerf in the future. Now guys, don't take that as confirmation of a nerf because I'm in the AOC. I have no idea if they plan to nerf him, and I personally don't plan on telling them to nerf him, because you guys haven't asked for that or complained about him. I'm pretty positive that for now he's gonna stay as is until they see the real full extent of him. He is definitely doing well and doing a lot, but it does take a good amount of time for something to fully settle into the game, especially when that something is very skill reliant. But yeah, TLDR, Atlas is a monster. What do you guys think about Atlas? Let me know in the comments below. And that's pretty much it, guys. I want to thank you all for watching. I very much appreciate it, and I'm gonna see you guys later. Bye.